Hello, I'm Ron Close. I will be presenting on software product line architecture. The following reference was used to prepare this presentation, applying software product line architecture, um, written by these authors listed here. The following objectives will be covered throughout the presentation. In the paper, the authors performed a study on the effectiveness of a software product line architecture. They performed a study on the company Nortel, since they were a successful example of the effectiveness of a software product line architecture. Um, they had previously had an architecture that was starting to degenerate after 20 or so years, and they started to become less profitable because it was becoming harder to maintain. So they created a new, more effective product line architecture to use for all of their products. They came up with these 6 principles, focusing on simplification, minimization, and clarification, adapting the architecture to future customer needs, establishing consistent and pervasive architectural rhythm, partnering and broadening relationships with stakeholders of the software architecture, maintaining a clear architecture vision across the enterprise, and proactively managing risks and opportunities. An issue that they talked about in their essay was cloning, and this is a common issue that occurs at my work, and we're currently trying to correct this, where cloning is where a program will take a chunk of product line code and modify it for their needs, either a little bit or a lot. So as that happens, then it becomes harder to maintain the product line across programs, because if you have 5 programs and all of them have cloned the 4 out of 5 of them have cloned it, then every time the product line changes, the clone will need to have its own CR to make that change, unless they merge back onto the product line. Um, so for simplification, they found that um, it's not always possible to make the product line simple and minimal based on how complex your requirements are. Um, and the idea of an architectural rhythm is such that you are maintaining your um, product line architecture such that you're not implementing too many future features such that it becomes unmaintainable and you have a lot of deactivated code within your product that the customer doesn't see, and then implementing too many customer needs such that it's um, harder, or programs may be more susceptible to cloning and branching off. Um, it's important to maintain a relationship with the stakeholders. For example, the stakeholders would be engineers on each of the programs 1 to 5, such that they need to be in sync with the product line idea, such that they do not go and step all over the product line and cause it to become more unmaintainable. These the risks and opportunities, so they need to be managed and watched closer in the software product line architecture, as um, they will have more, these things will have, risks will have more of an impact on all of the programs versus just one program having a program specific risk. And then also there's the different programs that if they have a program specific change, they need to think about the product line and if it's really truly a program specific implementation, or if it should be moved into the product line such that more of your code base becomes product line for all programs and easier to maintain in one spot. Um, so if not planned well, the software product line architecture um, will have less of a chance to succeed. Um, where I work, we're in the process of trying to make our software product line better and more maintainable. In regards to requirements, if you have a requirements document that has both program specific and product line requirements in it, um, if you don't specify what the product line requirements are, then any program might come along and modify those requirements um, for their need, or branch off to create their own requirement, um, facilitating the idea of cloning, um, and flowing down to the design. The if given module contains two product lines, say one for programs 1, 2, and 3, and a second product line for 4 and 5, but they're similar enough where they can be within the same module, then it would be good to have a way to clearly um, distinguish between the two product lines. Um, and then the same idea with the code, where if you have two product lines within the same module, then the stakeholders should collaborate to decide on the best way, the simplest way to merge the two product lines such that you can use the same file but have a method of deactivating a certain part of code for the given product line. Um, and then unit tests, um, where I work currently, each program has their own set of unit tests, but there should be a way to, if set up correctly, then you could use the software, or you could have a product line set of unit tests that would be easier to maintain in one spot. Similarly with verification for black box testing, um, if you have, say, um, each program has program-specific data that may go into a module where the software product line processes that data, then there may be product line requirements for that processing such that a utility could be written to be shared across all programs, but each program would have its own program-specific tests that use that utility. Um, so the principles identified in the paper that was written are good for analyzing a software product line architecture to show if it's on the right track or if it's not. Um, Using a software product line architecture can save time and money in the long run if it's properly implemented, um, such that you're not using cloning and other bad practices that cause it to become more inefficient.